think because it is and was quite a new thing at the time, it was quite undefined in terms of the expectations. There was a lot of support in my organisation around me taking parental leave and taking a flexible work arrangement, but there was actually not a lot of clarity around what the rules or expectations were because it hadn't really been done much.
So you don't necessarily want to be the first person who does it. And I think when I look back to the first time I did it, I was probably one of the first in the organisation to do it. And it was kind of almost, how do I even approach the subject? How do I even prove I'm the primary carer? How do actually the physical elements of it? But the second thing is you're also worried about what people's perceptions of you are going to be. So, they're perceiving that you had basically just taken 12 weeks holiday, or is there perception that, you're doing it because you're looking for a job or whatever it is. So I think that was one of the big challenges when I first did it.
I think, again, it comes back to the culture of our industry that, we're very hard-working industry, and in my team everyone works late, and it's hard for me to pull back and say, I've got to get home, I've got to help caring for the child, doing the meals, etc. So it's hard just balancing the expectations of work and meeting all the deadlines and achieving what the client wants, and at the same time getting home and doing the rest of life.
The ability to return to work knowing that my husband was taking care of my son did give me confidence and allowed me to forget, I think, a little bit about what was happening with him and focused on my work and what I was doing at work. I know that our organisation is doing a lot more now to reach out to females and males while they're on parental leave to ensure that they maintain that connectivity with the business and therefore maintain their confidence levels. I know my confidence levels dropped hugely for my first child. I was not even sure whether I could operate a computer when I came back. It's that dramatic, the change when you come back. It's sort of, you really feel like you're taking a step backwards.
So flexibility in the workplace is a very powerful way of fostering a culture of inclusion. Providing flexibility to fathers in the workplace, we believe is a very powerful way of sending a message to the organisation that you have a culture of inclusion. The advantages for the company are twofold. We are able to attract and retain talented fathers, which is very important for our business, but also as a result of that, we are able to, either within our own business or in another business, facilitate the inclusion and facilitate opportunities for working mothers.
And the way we see it working is really interesting. So often the mum will take it initially after the baby is born, and then they will have 4 months off. Sometimes they even extend that as half pay over 8, 12 months. And then when they're ready to return to work, often then the dad will take his turn. So then he gets a chance to be the primary carer for the baby, and it allows the mum to go back to work knowing that there's somebody at home with that transition period. So it's really a process that allows for some money and some financial support so that people can have choice in that first year or even longer. And then about creating a policy that allows flexibility and choice when people return to work, about whether they want to work part-time, full-time, how they want to share that role between the mother and father, or two mums or two dads. And so it's all about creating flexibility and choice for how people want to work and how they want to raise their families.
So each family should, in my opinion, be able to work out what's best for them. And in our instance, it was that I could engage in full-time work in a career that I have built up over many years and enjoy, and that he could have the benefit of being at home. He likes to be at home and spend time in the garden and look after the pool, and we have chickens. And so he's much happier doing that and having the time to do that when he has a part-time job, because he's picking up and dropping off children. So the benefit is that everyone gets to do and spend the time as they prefer, whilst the children are getting the benefit of both parents being involved in their upbringing.
But you have to be able to account for other people's schedules or each other's schedules. So if our daughter got sick, we had to work out who's responsible for that day. So long gone are the days where it's someone's job to be at home that whole time to look after the child. It's a much more enriching and rewarding way to do it, but it's actually takes its challenges. And I remember being at a time where I had an important meeting in the afternoon, but my wife had an important meeting in the morning. So I took the morning off and I literally handed my daughter out of a bus to my wife, so I could go into the city to my meeting and she could take over for the rest of the day. And you get to these sort of comical arrangements where you actually having to make the best out of the situation, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
The big moment for me was when I discovered how to get my son to sleep, and basically it was to put him into a bike trailer and cycle around, and he fell asleep every single time. And I can still remember it. You know, the world was falling apart, it was chaos at home and all the rest of it. Put him in the bike, and then off we went, and he'd fall asleep every single time.
I'm really good at cooking very quickly. It's improved my planning skills. So everything's planned the night before, all the food's chopped and ready to go, so we can cook and have food on the plate by 6 p.m. or the tantrum could come.
Interesting conversations with your kids as you're driving from one place to another, just going about your normal day. We're actually not off to, you know, a park, or you're not doing something necessarily. It's a fun activity, you're actually doing mundane things, but you actually get to have these really insightful chats and moments with your children, which I actually really enjoy. And you don't really seem to have them on the weekends, particularly when you have 2 children with you and they're squabbling or whatever. You actually have some better one-on-one time when you're doing a trip with one of the kids.
Can you give me an example of one of the insights that they shared with you?
Ah, jeez, they're not. They're all kind of cringeworthy.
Go on.
I wish I could think of one that was suitable for tape.